Welcome to the Edition Wars podcast, where we take a deep dive into the mechanics and playstyles of all the editions of our favorite game. We look at what worked, what didn't, what led to better games, as well as what didn't, and we talk about it all. In this episode, we're going to discuss the next part of Unearthed Arcana, the 3rd edition book of odd rules modules to make your D&D game do some real different stuff.
This one's going to be good, though. This has some good stuff in it.
Excuse me, Sam. Our last several episodes were also heartbreaking works of staggering genius. I'll have you know.
Okay.
No, too much.
I'm talking about the Unearthed Arcana book.
Oh.
Most of it so far has been not that. I mean, well, I don't want to say not that great. Some of it are really good ideas that I would just never use them.
Yeah. Well, like the Gestalt thing is a really interesting idea as an alternative approach to the sidekick system. In that box set.
The Essentials kit?
Thank you. God. That box set. The one with the thing. And
the one that came in a box? Yeah. Because
Yep.
there's only been one of those for the entire history of D&D. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew what you were talking about. I knew, right? I said it.
It's the one with the sidekicks in, of course.
Yeah.
So what we have here is getting into some more engine level stuff. Like up to this point, you've seen races and classes. Now we're getting into like how action is resolved, right? And that's a real spanner in the works. So, do you want to start us off, Sam?
I just want to say for the audience, we're starting with Chapter 3. I know this was Brandis's idea.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
So I know a lot of people listen while they're commuting, but if you happen to be listening at home and you have this book, then you can follow along and you can notice the art that we talk about and look at the charts, and we mention tables quite often and stuff like that. So there you go. So now we're talking about building characters.
Yep. And they call the chapter that, even though that's specifically not what it's about. Not really.
Well, and see, that's why I think I thought we were on Chapter 4, because the whole part, with all the different class options and the Gestalt thing and all that we had just talked about, that is a building characters thing for me.
And this is skills and feats and things that are feat adjacent weirdness and flaws, which are, take one of these and have more feats, so it's an anti-feat. Sure. I'm going to buy that -1 feat. Cool. Anyway, so alternative skill systems. So this section I unabashedly love for its place in the history of D&D. For what it's doing on its own, honey. But as a window into design thinking and history, it's beautiful, because this is where we see the bridge from 3rd edition skills to 4th edition skills, and maybe a little more dimly to 5th edition skills. And so I think that's really cool.
Maybe dimly.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, they had to learn why stuff that they did in 4th edition was not perfect either, so it's fine.
Sure.
So right.
Although the precursor to the skill challenge is right here.
Yeah, and that's awesome, right? That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we start with some, I guess you'd say, some recaps of just how this does work. Right. So they're trying to make choosing and leveling up faster. So the very first thing, maximum ranks, limited choices. So this is definitely a point both toward 4th and 5th where you don't keep spending skill points as you level up. This is them realizing, man, that's a lot of small choices that don't make anything interesting happen. Nothing changes really, except that you keep up with whatever your mark is.
Mhm.
And so,
Well, and that's a problem, right? Because as we've talked about before, it means if you make the wrong choice,
oh yeah, you're,
now
you're
you
just behind.
you're behind. So,
And so you have a number of skills that are just maxed out. That's the deal. Let's move on. In terms of like what they're offering, and then there's
and it gives like the table with here's how many skills
Yep.
you get based on your class and whatnot. And okay, fine.
and then
It's very straightforward.
there's a very complicated section for multi-class characters because of course there is.
Right. Well, anytime you start your section with multi-classing under this variant is a little more complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always telling the truth, but only
Yes.
technically, because it's always a
Right.
lot more complicated.
Mhm.
And so then there's a variant where you can learn new skills. So if you increase your intelligence modifier, which you're not going to do
Mhm.
unless you're a class that is going to do that anyway.
Right.
And the skill knowledge
Right.
feat, sure. Then level-based skills, which is maybe an even clearer precursor to fourth ed skills, especially because this strips your roll down to for all class skills. You have 1d20 plus character level plus modifiers. Now that's 3 points lower than you would have if you just maxed out skills and you had enough skill points to get all of your class skills, which by design no one does. So
Right.
this is going much broader than anyone could ever actually go, and then keeping up with it. So in the net, it's a ton more skill points. And then cross-class skills are just 1d20 plus modifiers. So this is what I love so much. This is where you can see them making the mistake that leads so specifically to why fourth ed skills work exactly the way they do, where you either add half your level, or you add half your level plus 5. Right?
Right, if you're trained.
Like this is the specific thing
Yep.
where they see, oh right, this is we simplified and that was good, but it created this ever widening gulf such that if you had the skill, you couldn't fail, and if you didn't, you couldn't succeed, and that's not interesting. Like that doesn't allow any tense situation to happen when you do the other thing.
Right.
And so,
Well, because in play, what happens is someone in the party
yeah,
has that skill and they're just going to succeed.
Yeah.
Right. And someone doesn't. And that person is never going to say, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to make that check. I'm performing this activity that would bring about that check.
Right.
That roll.
Well,
nobody's going to, right.
And I mean, God help you if it's a skill that everyone needs in order to be adventurers today, such as ride if you're in a chase on horseback, which is the example that fourth ed used. And so, like, this is quick to cover, but the text is dense because they want to talk about their thinking, and we've kind of explained where they're going with it. But
well, I mean, this whole chapter is rationale, right?
Yep.
I mean, this chapter has a distinctly, I don't want to say, it has to me, a different tone from the previous two. Because this one is, here's this system, here's why we even put it in this book.
Yeah. And I can't help but suspect strongly that it was written by a different member of the sort of unusually large design and additional design teams, right?
Sure.
There's so many names in the list in this book that probably a different person wrote this, or it was, smoothed out by a single person, but taken from a very different set of cutting room floor leavings.
Right. Or there was a brainstorm session.
Well, yeah.
And different people went off to write little pieces of different things, and then one person, as you said, had to smooth it up.
That makes sense.
But because of that, then that means if you're only writing a page or two, maybe 3, in Word, right? You're writing up your submission. You're going to rationalize. Here's my rationale. Here's why this should go in the book, because we know we brainstormed 15 things and only 5 of them are getting in.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And so next up is complex skill checks, which is the thing you were talking about, where we're seeing the one step away from fourth ed skill challenges. It's just that I feel like this is showing them some key things about why fourth ed skill challenges need to work the way they do, and then there's still some lessons that they haven't quite got to. And so the key thing here is that you have successes required for different complexities. Does that sound familiar? And then rules around trying again for failure. And one of the things that they're seeing here is that there isn't enough of a way to decide that the challenge is over and you're done and you failed. Right?
Right.
And the other big thing is that they talk about how you'd write a skill challenge for all of these different individual skills, but that means that the conceit is you're always rolling the same skill.
Right. Yep.
That's boring.
Right.
It's just that really strips it down to just a series of rolls without any significant change in the fictional positioning. And then where are you? That's the thing that gives people the sense of fights where the bad guy has too many hit points, you're just hacking down a tree. It's because nothing visibly changed since the last time I acted, except that there's now a bigger dent in the bad guy. Well, I need something to be more different. And so that's what's missing here. If you are rolling, let's say, craft over and over and over again, and I tried playing a crafter in more than one third ed game, and it can be pretty stultifying, not gonna lie. And they touch on how you would take 10 and take 20. And a lot of those taking 10 are kind of, I guess we're taking failure off the table. That's not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, this section for me personally, I did not read this section when third edition was the current edition.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this only from the standpoint of someone who knows about skill checks or skill challenges from fourth edition.
Sure.
And various ways to, resolve skill-based tasks in other systems. And I have to say, it reads to me like a solution in search of a problem.
That's not unfair. They don't have quite interesting enough of examples for why you'd use this.
Right. And like you say, it a lot of them, all of them actually that I've looked at, they just want, the example you gave of crafting something, that they say, 4 to 6 successes are required for an ordinary complexity skill check, and you're doing a weaponsmithing check 4 or 6 times to see how many times you succeed. Like, it's just not,
or however many, because it's not clear when you would stop and fail. Right.
And that's the thing, right? That's why I say it's almost a solution in search of a problem. Like, the reason I prefaced my comment with I'm looking back on this is because I don't know what the scuttlebutt or what the sort of the gestalt feeling about people with this, with skill ranks and all that was in third edition at the time that this book came out. Like, I don't know what the sort of ethos was when people would come to this and read it and go, oh, I could use this for A, B, C, D, and E in my game. Like, I don't get that sense for any of these.
Well, so even the framing of this is, I have a new idea. Let's use the previous idea, in the sense that what they describe here for weaponsmith and crafting was already the idea. That was just how it worked to a considerable degree. I'm not going through every detail to make sure I have that quite right, but it's close enough as makes no difference.
Yeah.
You make a series of checks. You try to whittle down the gold piece value of the thing, silver pieces at a time, and it takes forever. This is why no one does non-magical crafting, because it's terrible.
Well, and let's look at the handle animal table, right? It says that these types of complex skill checks work well with extended training times. So then it gives you this table that says, well, if you're trying to learn how to do combat riding, that's going to take 6 weeks, and you need 6 successes for a DC 20 handle animal check.
Right.
And then just doing heavy, using a horse or training a horse to do heavy labor only takes 2 weeks. The DC is 15 and you need 2 successes. So in other words, they're assuming you're going to roll once per week based on the way this table reads.
Yep.
There's a bunch of examples here. And that you have to succeed every single time.
Yep.
And so what is the alternative? If you don't succeed, do you fail the whole thing? You got to start over with your 6 weeks again? Or do you just fail that week? And so your training is extended by a week. So now your downtime, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not very nuanced. I'll put it that way.
Well,
It's
and
not very nuanced.
there's a sidebar, why complex checks, right at the bottom of that page, that says complex skill checks let players resolve complicated situations with fewer die rolls. That's a baffling statement. That's specifically the thing that it isn't doing, as far as I can see. And like what this sort of is, I have to think really deliberately looking past, because I didn't invent basic math, and these people, these writers knew it just as well as I did, is that the more rolls you get, the more the average is just going to be what shines through. Right? So if you're rolling 10d20, whether or not you succeed on a 10 on the roll of a 10 matters even more than if you're rolling 1 or 2. Is what I'm saying. So that's actually stripping all the tension out of it, unless any failed roll fails the whole game. In which case, the tension is also gone, because forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. Like, you just can't do that. That's not going to fly, right? And that's why skill challenges in 4th Ed have people still play 4th Ed, so have this whole issue in their design around the number of failures before you have failed the challenge. And it's the core design problem of them, because sometimes if you need 8 successes before 3 failures, I'm sorry, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
That's how the math works.
Yeah. And in other words, you'd be lucky if you succeeded, right? Which means that
super lucky. Yeah.
Well, and that means, so some might say, well, that's putting the randomized, effect of dice in the forefront, and that's a good thing, right? Somebody might say that you're putting that sort of random outcome of the dice in the forefront, so that makes it worthy as a gaming mechanic, right? But it kind of doesn't match with the heroic nature of the characters and what the whole point of the skill check is. Like, so, and to be fair, the handle animal description, for example, it does tell you, like I kind of flippantly said, oh, how do I know if I failed? It tells you that if you roll 3 failed results during this complex check, right? So you got to roll for every week. So if you're doing a 6-week training and you roll 3 failures, the whole thing, the entire attempt fails, and you have to begin the training again, or completely abort it and don't even bother.
Yep.
And so that is a 4th edition skill check right there. I want to learn how to do combat riding. It's going to take me 6 weeks. I got to make 6 successes before 3 failures. Otherwise, my time has been wasted.
Yep. And that balance of 6 over 3, that feels exactly like 4th Ed skill checks, and
Right.
I don't know. It really emphasizes for me that thing that people outside D&D always accuse D&D of not doing. It's just that the books don't tell you enough to do it, and so only good GMs seem to know about this secret hack to fix your skill challenges. Have something change. Like
Yeah.
whether the roll succeeds or fails. That's what fail forward means. Just something changes. Now,
Right.
the fail forward ethos doesn't work in other parts of D&D, right? Because there are plenty of single checks where you fail and nothing materially changes because you didn't pick the lock, you need to find a different solution, isn't a material change, right? Or you failed your saving throw, you didn't shake off the effect, nothing materially changes except that you lost time. That fail forward won't work there. But this is the place where fail forward is meant to work. And I think a lot of people who don't even know about that terminology really engage with the action that it's espousing of just no matter what happens on your roll in this skill challenge, narration occurs next. And that narration needs to either close off possibilities or open up possibilities, or ideally both. Because that's just change. And ideally, you'll go on to use a different check for the next person down the line who does something, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's my brief diatribe on skill challenges, which I think we've done before, but here we are.
And probably, and so for me, I also ascribe to the idea of if there are no real consequences, why is that player rolling a die?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're, because that's also how you get to fail forward, right?
Yep.
Because if you have the players, and this happens a lot, like one of my groups has a couple of teenage players, and they're really gung ho, and they want to frickin' roll for everything.
Sure.
They'll say, "Oh, I'm doing this. Can I roll?" And then they roll before I even answer, right?
Yep.
And I've begun training them to not roll the dice and expect to get that answer, that, because sometimes they'll roll and they'll be like, "Yes, I rolled an 18. I was doing this." And it's like, no. You don't roll until I ask you to. You can fiddle with your dice all you want. I don't care. But that number that comes up isn't important unless I've asked you for a roll as the DM, right? But here's where I was going with this. These players love rolling dice. They want to roll dice all the time. They want to do a perception check every 10 feet of the dungeon, right? I want to look around. I want to see this. Okay, fine. But unless you're specifically looking for something really, really specific, you don't need to roll again, right? You're already looking around. You're already being vigilant just by the nature of the fact that you said that when you walked into the place.
Yep.
Right? It's only if there's something specific now that you're looking for. Like if you walk into a room and there's a bunch of furniture there, you want to search it. Okay, now you're going to roll something, right? Maybe, depending on how you tell me what you're doing. But the idea is you don't just roll for everything. And I think that in late 3E, if not early 3E, and definitely in 4th E, it was let's roll for everything. And 5e has some of that too. And part of that, I think, in 4th and 5th is this reduced skill list, right? And so now it's a very wieldy, it's not an unwieldy, I've got 25 skills and various ranks amongst them, and half of them are knowledge and all this kind of crap, right? There's not an enormous page of skills. It's just 10 or 15 skills. It's a small list, and I know what they all do. I can ask to roll that skill all the time as a player. And it takes the place of narrative, and it stops you from being able to do that kind of fail forward narrative, right?
Yep.
Like the thing where you're trying to pick a lock in the door, right? Well, there is a way to fail forward. Okay, you opened the door, but you messed up your thieves' tools, right? And as a DM, I could make the ruling, hey, look, every thieves' tools kit, every set of thieves' tools has 5 breakages possible. After the 5th time that you failed a lockpicking check, that whole kit is no longer usable because you've eroded the value of it. You got to go back to town and clean it up. Right?
Sure. You just get into, well, now that I know you're doing that, next time I'll pack 3 more sets because a lockpicking set is
Right.
cheap, and
Right.
it's important
Well,
that it's
sure.
cheap.
Sure,
Right.
but I'm just and so right, and so the other side of that is, well, do I really want to take their resources if they're going through the dungeon, right? Like that's a whole different conversation. My point was you can make anything fail forward if you have enough time to think about it. But if everybody's rolling something every 2 seconds, you're not going to have time to think about how to make every single roll important and make, even if they fail, important. Like it's just impossible.
Sure. I agree with that.
So anyway, that's my rant.
No, that's totally valid. And so we get another extensive sidebar, half-page sidebar on how many successes, and start getting into your success and failure chance for various numbers of required successes and the number on the d20 that the player needs to roll to succeed. And they're imagining that in each case 3 failures ends the attempt, and then they map that out for value if you need a 2 or better, 6 or better, 11 or better, 16 or better, and then if you just have to have a 20 to succeed, for simple, complex 3, complex 5, complex 10. And I mean, it gets grim in a hurry.
Yes, it does.
Like if the required roll is 11 or better and you need 10 successes, then you have a 1.93% chance of success in the skill challenge.
Yeah.
We can round that down to nothing.
Right.
And that's where things like aid another really start to matter, or any other like skill buff that you might have from an item or a spell or anything that is short term and will get you over the hump. But there isn't a ton of that. That's very much more 4e and 5e design. Like that's Bardic Inspiration 5e right there. That's a thing. That's what it does. So
right.
And
this section does say that you can use aid another just like you would use it at any time, even if it's in the middle of a check and blah blah blah. But that's not really helpful.
Well,
when there's only a 2% chance of, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it kind of helps a ton if so. That was a problem in 4e skill challenges, right? If you're in a situation where you're only counting successes and failures and you don't have time pressure, then what you do is you have the player with the best bonus be the only one who actually
be the main
rolls,
right.
and everyone else just piles aid another, and that's boring as sin. That's so awful in terms
once again,
of
you might as well not roll.
Right, you might as well not roll.
Yeah.
And cool, we feel like heroes? We do not.
Right.
And so like that's why that whole approach to helping someone, like that's why the help action isn't a fixed bonus in 5e. In addition to the other reasons it's not a fixed bonus, because bounded accuracy, etc. But it doesn't stack if it's advantage. That's the deal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Which is, by the way, there was a lot of talk at the beginning about how come advantage and disadvantage would be a much better mechanic if it's stacked and if they canceled out instead of not stacking. But I will tell you, the best thing they did was make them not stack in either direction. And if you have one thing that gives advantage and one thing that gives disadvantage, you're at an even roll, no matter what. If you have 10 things that give disadvantage and one thing that gives advantage, you're at an even roll. It makes it so simple. And it does the same thing that it's intended to do. I'm not saying it's the most eloquent and best. I'm saying it still does the exact thing it was meant to do.
Right. And what it creates is a game and a world where unlikely successes and unlikely failures are still going to come up. Like, you've been blinded and all these terrible things have happened to you. You have disadvantage from 18 different sources, but your friend tossed a guiding bolt on there. The fact that you can't see the target doesn't matter because guiding bolt doesn't care. And so you're making a straight roll. That's amazing, actually. And conversely, everything is in your favor. Every single thing is in your favor, but the enemy has one way to give you disadvantage, and they use it. Well, there you go. There you go. Now it's a normal roll again. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of the people at the beginning of 5th edition who wasn't great with advantage not stacking above 1 step, and any amount of advantage being canceled by 1 instance of disadvantage, or vice versa. Because during D&D Next, especially, there were a number of magic items and features and such that just really sort of, in a blasé way, went with, you've just always got advantage in this kind of thing. Well, now I don't need to think about how to do that well anymore. Like, there's not an attached cost, and there's not anything else to consider. I just always have advantage. That's not great. And for example, that's why it's key that Reckless Attack grants advantage on incoming attacks as well as your outgoing attack. Right? You don't necessarily want to do it every single time, even though, Grog Smash, just because there's this disadvantage, or this advantage on enemy attacks coming in, and that can wreck your day in a hurry. Anyway, maybe enough on that from me.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we're in the wrong edition. But here's the thing, right? So this is what, at the beginning you kind of introduced this by saying, you definitely see the through line to 4th edition skill challenges and the 4th edition skill list, and somewhat you see a ghost of that in 5th edition. Well, we're kind of illustrating that right now because we're talking about how this sort of setup led to the reasons why 5th edition is the way it is.
Yeah, for sure. So next up after this, we get character traits. And man, nope, I don't like it. Sam, I don't like it.
Well, let me ask you why you don't like it. Do you not like it because you feel like it's kind of ridiculous to saddle the PC with this character trait that then the player is required to try and role play?
No, that part's fine. That part's fine. No. What I don't like about it is that the whole mechanical implementation is a very fiddly +1 up, -1 down, or maybe as much as 2 up or 2 down.
Oh, you mean the actual benefits and drawbacks?
The actual benefits and drawbacks are tedious and uninteresting.
Sure.
And things like you gain a +2 bonus on initiative checks in exchange for a -1 penalty to armor class. No, don't take this. It's terrible.
Right.
You don't need initiative that much. No one does. Not for AC.
Well, and that's also, just to tell the audience, that's the aggressive trait.
Yeah.
So because you're aggressive, you get a +2 bonus on initiative, but a -1 bonus to AC, or penalty to AC. Like,
right. And so,
really?
So they're all kind of like this. Like, easy going. You get a +1 bonus in gather information checks. Drawback. You take a -1 penalty on intimidate checks and sense motive checks. Cool. So my interest in being a social rogue is just out the window because I took this trait and it's a net loss. Like, I could have just spent my skill points differently and gotten there. Is my point.
Right. And then there's this hardy. You get a +1 bonus to your fort save. You take a -1 penalty to reflex. Like,
sure.
Why? Why do you even take that?
Like, yeah. If you just have too much reflex save, I guess, but that's not a thing. Right? No one says that.
Here's one that directly integrates with the last section. Inattentive. You get to, the benefit is you choose a skill that allows complex skill checks. You gain a +1 bonus on a simple skill check made using that skill. The drawback, a -4 penalty on any complex skill check made with the chosen skill.
I'm in this photo and I don't like it, Sam. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Just
Isn't that horrible?
like this whole section is just don't take these. They're bad.
Yeah.
They're bad and they don't
Yeah.
like you. I don't know.
They're you know what they are? They're personality feats that suck.
Right. Well, we're about to get into ones that are worse, but they actually do something, right? Like that's the next
Right, I know.
section.
Yeah.
Because like these are supposed to be like the whole idea is they're value neutral, right? And it's just
Right.
I'd actually like these things about me to probably be more positive than a wash. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to be able to decide my weaknesses in something else. And just this is not my deal. The role playing part is fine. I don't care about that at all. Like I would be fine if all of these were real feats that actually did stuff that they then also expected you to roleplay. I think that would be fine, right? And this just ain't it, Chief.
Yeah. Well, and I want to point out two problematic ones.
Sure.
There's one called skinny and there's one called stout. Skinny says you're very slender for your race. You get a +1 bonus on escape artist checks, and you take a -2 penalty on strength checks to avoid being bull rushed or overrun. Skinny characters tend to be pushed around by tougher types, so those with this trait might be shy or they might be very defensive when faced with such situations. Okay, here's stout. You're heavy for your race. You gain a +2 bonus on strength checks to avoid being bull rushed or overrun. You take a -1 penalty on escape artist checks. So you see those two are the mirror image of each other, right?
Yeah.
The opposite mirror image. And then it says role-playing ideas. Overweight characters are often bullied, so those with this trait might be shy or they might be very defensive when faced with such situations. Some turn to humor to diffuse such situations, while others become bitter. Okay, then how about making the benefit or drawback about those?
Yeah.
Or how about we don't just assume that anybody who's overweight has been bullied into shyness or defensiveness, or anybody who's too skinny for their size has been basically bullied into shyness or defensiveness, right? So the reason I point this out is their benefits and drawbacks are the mirror opposite images of each other, but the role-playing ideas are basically exactly the same.
Yep.
Which sucks.
Yep.
So anyway.
Because, I mean, let me tell you, man, what third ed D&D needed was some actually institutionalized fat phobia. That is the best.
Right. Yes.
I needed that on my character sheet.
Right.
Cool.
Well, and the skinny character can't be strong.
Yeah.
Like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps would like a word.
Yeah, no kidding. So, anyway, so not only are some of these just really worthless in terms of mechanics, but they're also just, some of them are not that great. They're just really...
Yeah, agreed. So character flaws. Let's double down on traits and make them worse. Yes. But I like the character flaw system more. I still don't like it, don't get me wrong. But on the scale of dislike, this is doing much better than traits. Because I'm accepting a bad thing, and then that becomes a wildcard good thing in return, right?
Right. Well, so I will point out to you that there is an inattentive trait and an inattentive character flaw. And if you have both of those, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have noticed that if you hadn't told me.
It's only because nice. It's only because I just had read the inattentive one, so I happened to notice. I'm like, because I thought to myself, oh, is there one for each one? But no, there's not. There just happen to be a few that are named the same.
Hey, there's also pathetic. This is really calling me out, dude. This is great. I was getting called out by Unearthed Arcana in the day. It's the best.
Yeah. Well, here's this. Then it says the effect of pathetic, you reduce one of your ability scores by 2. However, here's a special requirement. You cannot take this flaw if the total of your ability modifiers is 8 or higher.
The hell?
Yeah, right.
What the hell? Y'all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you have to be, you can't, in other words, you can't beef up and then take pathetic because it wouldn't have any effect because you're already so beefed up. So you have to be extra pathetic to even be able to take the pathetic flaw.
Why? This is
Yeah.
bad.
Mhm.
So, right, you can take up to 2 flaws, and in return, you are entitled to a bonus feat, and that's fine. I mean, at least you get to decide what the form of your benefit is, instead of,
Mhm.
here's a garbage benefit that you'll never care about.
Right.
And it's just a +1 that's going to disappear into your skill list instantly and never be thought about again.
Mhm.
Cool. So yeah, I have a very dim view of this, and I don't think I have much more to say about it, really. So now we get into something that is actually good for you, sort of, but it's good for you because a bad thing happened.
The spell touch.
Yeah, so spell touched. So the idea here is, so what I like about this is that I feel like it's a little bit of a precursor of the spell plague in 4e.
Okay.
Because it's transformation by magic, and so you've got this magic in you that is residual and does weird stuff, and it's strange and unpredictable, and also just spell touch sounds like spell plague in my dim memory of like, because
They both have the word spell in them.
Hush you. So look, by the time I opened the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide, I guess it was, to read about the spell plague, it had been a hot damn minute since I had read UA, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the similarity of those things it starts with spell. It's got a fairly similar length of word and rhythm of word. Fine. Like, drew those together in my head a bit and made me feel like, oh, I've kind of seen this before. I mean, not exactly, because it's 4e and it's a power structure, but I've kind of seen this before, right? And so there's a bunch of different spells where, if you've been exposed to the spell, and it's not all negative spells, a lot of them are beneficial spells, then you qualify for the feat and you gain something from it. For example, exposure to bark skin. It's just bark skin, guys. Come on. Your 3rd level druid can help you out with this, but that qualifies you for photosynthetic skin. Well, that's wild and cool.
Yeah.
Let's go. But
it even sounds cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But all that does is a +2 to natural armor when outside during the day. No. I mean, that's better than the dodge feat, because dodge is trash. But okay.
Yeah. But for something with such a rad name.
Right? Like, that's amazing.
I mean, look, as a biologist, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, man. Like, and like, some of the other feat names are just fire. Like, let's go. I want to know what this does. Oh, like, live my nightmare. What's up? That's awesome.
Right.
It requires exposure to Phantasmal Killer. Send nightmarish vision against creature that targets you with divination effect. Okay, tell me more. All right.
Right.
Holy shit. That's amazing. This is so overpowered.
Yeah, it's awesome though, right? It says you can whenever someone successfully targets you with a divination spell or effect, you can send that caster a nightmarish vision. The vision functions as a phantasmal killer spell, except that the form comes from your dreams, not the other creature's dreams. The other creature must succeed on a will save, DC 14 plus charisma mod, to disbelieve the nightmare, and a fortitude save, also DC 14 plus charisma mod, to avoid dying from fear.
Yeah. I mean,
Or Or you could just take the photosynthetic skin and get a +2 bonus.
But I mean, in fairness, you have to have survived Phantasmal Killer, right?
Sure.
Which
Sure.
might mean you're on your second life.
Yes, that's true.
And so like some of these are really cool, and I would at least have an interesting time writing these up for 5th edition, or if someone else wrote them up, I give it that PDF a look. I'd see what they're doing. There's interesting ideas going on. So this is by a substantial margin the most interesting thing so far in the chapter.
I also like Stench of the Dead. An odor of decay hangs heavy on you, causing others to gasp and retch. You have to have been exposed to ghoul touch or vampiric touch, and you exude a carrion stench that causes any creature adjacent to you to make a fort save, DC 12 plus charisma, or become sickened as long as it remains adjacent to you and for 1d4 rounds thereafter. You cannot suppress the stench voluntarily.
God.
That's so horrible.
Don't
it's awesome.
buy
I
this.
love
You
it.
will not have party members. Jesus. Yep. Okay. That's astoundingly bad.
But that Stench of the Dead is a quest feat. That is a reason for a group that has already been together for a long time to have to go cleanse their comrade because they can't stand the damn odor. And everybody, everywhere they go, everybody says, "Who's dying in here?" So that's why I like it personally. I think it's hilarious. But talk about derail your campaign, right?
Controlled Immolation is a great name, I just want to say.
But yeah.
Man. So yeah, those are actually cool. Whatever the balance, whatever's going on in the balance, at least there's a rad idea at stake, and I'll take that any day. So next we get weapon group feats, which, oh man, I'm sorry, I need a new keyboard. Just skeeted blood out of my eyes, all over my keyboard again.
Yeah, me too. But I will say, some people live for this, right? Like they just they want to think of their character as this weapon wielding. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, it's boring, but I could respect that.
But that's why I don't want to be proficient in all the weapons. Just give me some damn proficiency.
I know.
I like it's fine. Just
it's just not for me. Is all I'm saying.
Because like it is the weapon group thing from Combat and Tactics.
Yep.
Right. It breaks down along the same lines, and so in that way, this book is really bringing all the player's option stuff back to me, like a bad burrito. Yeah. I don't know what to say.
I mean, it's okay. Whatever. I'm just saying, like, I know some people, I don't know who, really like this kind of thing about weapons. They are the weapon aficionado, and they love reading sections of books like this. Even if they don't even implement it, they love seeing what you can do with different weapons. So I'm okay. I can respect that. I won't use it.
Well,
not that interesting to me, you know.
In 3rd and 4th, I loved a good weapons table where you get the various like specs of the weapon, damage die for different sizes, fine, crit range if crit range is a thing, or whatever weird additional effects the weapon has. Sorry, nets in 5e, you guys lose anyway. But a couple of pages on feats about how to be proficient with weapons. Nope. No, sir. I don't like it. And so next up is craft points. And this is just really, really specifically presaging Eberron Artificers in 3rd ed. Like, no two ways about it. This is just them tooling around with all of that. And well, actually, it may have come out after. So if it came out after, then it's offering that system to everyone.
Yeah.
I don't remember which it was.
You can use this even if you're not playing in Eberron.
Yeah. And so, like, this is actually not bad in the balance. Like, it's saying okay, so we know that losing experience points to making magic items is a drag. You hate it. But we still don't want to make magic item creation unlimited because we tested that and things get real weird real fast. Mostly because you don't have a reason to keep adventuring. You make a magic item, you sell it, you have money to now make 2 magic items, which you make and sell. This is
Right.
not what we came here to do. So instead, we're going to give you a freebie budget that if you don't burn through it, it goes away, and then you get a new, bigger budget at the next level. And that's fine,
Right.
right? It is actually fine, because like in the I guess these don't go away. These don't go if you don't use them because they have total craft points. That's quite nice. So like if you know you want to make something big and it's really just ginormous, then save up for a level and do a little more adventuring before you start that wacky ass, I don't know, jar to hold the Eye of Vecna or whatever, because that's
Right.
obviously something you'd craft yourself. Sure.
Sure.
But
So just so you know, both the 3e Eberron campaign setting guidebook and Unearthed Arcana 3.5, both of them came out in 2004.
Sure, that actually makes sense. And having a not apparently Eberron specific presentation of those rules doesn't make me sad at all, even if this was a book of extremely optional rules. Anyway, like from our perspective now, craft points and such are very heavy on the bookkeeping, but to speak in their favor for a moment, because they're there, you don't have to like do some of the other things in the economy where selling magic items is painful and horrible, and making powerful magic items takes for frickin' ever.
Right.
That you see in 5th ed. You can instead collapse some of the time and make some of the sales costs more reasonable because you can't do it indefinitely. You can do it a good bit, but not indefinitely. Not without spending experience points, which, as previously attested, is a drag. And then there's some feats to make you more better at crafting, because sure.
Right. Because you can't have a 3e book or any mechanism without some kind of feats.
Well, Lord knows Eberron didn't. So many feats. And there's a feat to give you a boost in craft points, which just, if I spend a feat and I'm receiving an influx of points that go away and can then functionally be stolen, or like Mordenkainen is can be disjoined. Oh
Yeah.
no! Oh no! I'm gonna be so mad. But Mordenkainen's disjunction is how to have a fight with your DM, forever.
Yeah. I'm not a huge crafting aficionado. I don't really have a lot of feelings either way about different crafting systems. Like I just don't. They're not one of those things that I.
So anyone who knows me from like my creative past and is listening to this has just started laughing, and they're doing that because I'm the other kind.
Yeah. I could tell.
Yeah. Like, how to put this? So, when I worked on the Fallen Earth MMO, like my big contribution, the thing that like I did that the game was praised for, was designing the crafting system and creating all the items, and like it's this whole elaborate thing. With really pretty finely tuned costs and everything. And that was me, because I super duper cared. And I super duper cared all throughout World of Warcraft. And then for the Dust to Dust LARP, I super duper cared, and fortunately, sort of the rest of the committee members, about making player driven crafting something that was really, really important. And so we were trying to revolutionize what was going on in crafting systems in Georgia area buffer LARPs, right? Or buffer LARPs in the American South. And I mean, not to put too fine a point of it, but that was one of our great successes. So from my perspective, a huge part of my creative career has been crafting systems. I care about this crap. And tabletop is really, really bad at it. It is really hard to make even a remotely okay crafting system in tabletop. Oh my
and
God.
this is why I don't usually pay that much attention, because they usually suck.
Yeah, for sure. Right? And there's a lot of reasons that they suck. And a lot of them have to do with just how the narrative works in tabletop. And I don't want to continue this digression any further. It can be a digression for a different series, because we do those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a thing. It's a problem. And I don't blame you for hating it. Just here we are. We're talking about the thing that is my deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your overall assessment then of the one in this book that we're talking about, to get us back on track here?
Well, so craft points. It's fine. It solves for the fact that losing XP is a drag. It's very bookkeepy, but it is not really more bookkeeping than core rules. It's just shifted. So it's fine. I don't object to it. It doesn't feel like what I think a crafting system should feel like, but D&D doesn't want to do that. There are really good reasons that D&D doesn't want to do that, and also some bad reasons. And someday, by God, I'm going to solve it. But this doesn't address the things that I think are really wrong. This is addressing some surface level problems that just get some of the bad feeling out, and that's worth something. That's not a worthless effort. Just this doesn't hit the mark of feeling like you have put something together. This is just you have some credit at the vending machine, right?
Right.
And
you got some craft points,
right?
And now you can spend them.
Right. Yeah. And that whole sense of it feels like a vending machine is the fundamental problem. If you're just inserting gold coins, it doesn't feel like crafting.
Right.
But getting D&D to solve that is hard. So someday. To the moon, Alice.
So do you? I'm totally digressing, but do you know anything about Pathfinder 2?
I know that my review copy is sitting on the floor of my room.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, I haven't lost the book, so that's good.
Yeah. So they have a crafting system in there. I was just curious if you had a take on it.
I've been meaning to sit down and really get into reviewing that book for a long time now, and so I don't yet because I haven't. If and when I get around to it, it'll be in Tribality for sure. Just my work schedule has not made that a realistic possibility.
But when you get around to looking at that book, then whether it's this year, next year, the year after, I'm curious to talk to you about the crafting.
Yeah, for sure.
System that
for sure.
In there.
And there's a crafting system book for 5e that I backed on Kickstarter, and I'm looking forward to seeing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that does. I don't expect to like it because I don't expect anyone to care about the things I care about until I tell them to care about them, right? I don't expect them to have my perspective until I share my perspective, right?
Right.
And I think that I have some ideas that could work, and they just need a lot of refining. Anyway, how about we get back to this thing?
Yeah, let's get back to this book. So
Okay. So character background. Oh, it's just backgrounds. It's just straight up dead ass
look,
backgrounds. Okay.
when your first heading is how to read the tables, and then the next 4 pages are just tables, then you know what you're getting into.
Right. But the concept that they're trying to lay out here is pointing in the same direction in a much more convoluted, excessive way as 5e backgrounds. And
absolutely.
Sort of.
There's a direct
themes,
line.
right?
Yeah, sort of 4e, more closely 5e backgrounds than 4e themes.
Yeah, I would say so. Though the feats bit is a nice nod. But yeah, if these had a trait instead of some of the feat stuff they're doing, like that would just be, they invented one of 5e's killer apps in 2004 and just sat on that for 8 years, for 10 years. Cool, great.
Yep.
But yeah, this is like the fundamental ideas here are great. Just love them. The actual implementation, ooh. But
well, there's something I really like about this, and we haven't gotten to the chapter where they talk about it, so it hasn't been mentioned yet. But one of the things that they do is they connect these backgrounds in the different tables with a reputation score, and reputation is one of the options in this book that happens later.
Nice.
In chapter 5 or 6 or one of those. And I really like that they bothered to do that, and they, and so that the last 2 columns of all of these tables is reputation and recognition, and it's trying to connect something that could turn into a really narrative driving force to what you're saying your background is, which I think is because they make it it's a mechanical number. It almost does it better than 5e. Because, in 5th edition backgrounds, they have that whole, here's your bonus, or here's your kind of the advantage that you get from having this as your background, right? And theoretically, that advantage is something that could be leveraged in multiple different situations. But if your DM is not really into that, and the player doesn't really bring it up or feel comfortable bringing it up, or doesn't even realize that it could really be a thing in that game, or if there's no sort of background ideal flaw personality thing that 5e wants to do, if the DM or the GM is not doing any of that, then the player might just not even care about their background in 5e. But in the 3rd edition version of this, because it has the reputation and recognition part to it, that could have a direct effect on the game, and it's a number. So however you want to feel about +1, +2, modifiers, all that crap.
Sure.
When you put a number on something in 3rd edition, suddenly it means something to a large group of players. So I like that they did that. That's almost my favorite thing about this.
No, that's a really good point. It's super strong. The context column is very promising.
Yes.
Even if I need to do a little digging to find out what it does. Oh, what's another variant that we haven't gotten to yet?
Sure. It's also with that chapter 6 variant. That chapter 6 is a maybe one of my favorite chapters in this book, but
nice.
Yeah. So it goes all with that. There's a whole honor thing and everything. There's a bunch of stuff in there, but this chapter tries to take what your background is, your PC's background, and add all that stuff along with, some feats and skills and all that stuff too that you typically might find. But I like it.
And this is really, really interesting because it's interested in like each table is really a 5e background, more or less. Though some of them you cut a little more finely to bring into 5e, like government background activities. Well, spy is separate from, say, honor guard, but some of these would still make pretty good new backgrounds in 5e. I'm thinking about mining this right here, right now. There's some good stuff. Like the military background activities, there's literally a table in the 5e soldier background where you pick which one of these you are or roll for it.
Right.
Like that's just a thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
So this is a very strong section to me, and I'd want to see some of the maybe rough edges sanded off of implementation here, and see it sort of brought more into the center of the whole deal. But this is imagining a very different D&D, and I'm here for it. This is good content.
Well, and as a player who likes playing clerics, the religious background is a great table.
It is. Yeah, those are cool. Like those are grabby.
Yeah. These are like, I'm like you. I want to like take some of these and turn them into backgrounds for my own homebrew setting.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
I mean, there's some interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely the chapter finish is very strong with this content.
And you know what else that can be done with this? Sorry to interrupt you, but like there's on the next page, there's an underworld background activity thing. That is perfect for making a downtime complication table.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Like if your players are in a city and they're doing whatever, they don't even have to be at the gambling den or the brothel or the tavern or what. They can just accidentally be walking down the wrong alleyway. And then, hey, all of a sudden, you are faced with some complicating event that has to do with rolling on this table right here. And I mean,
yeah, well, like this is beautiful because this feels like, oh, are you telling me that 3rd edition D&D stumbled into almost creating Blades in the Dark just in 2004?
Right.
That's wild.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Oh, it's really good. Just where is this in other books? Bring this energy more often.
Right.
And it's not that the 5th edition DMG doesn't like give you some of this, though you have to do some drilling down to get to it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is very strong. I do think it's funny how the underworld background activities is much more an activity than just a job like that you have all the time. It's not scribe or scientist. It's assassination. Yeah.
Right.
Let's go.
Right. Yeah. No, but this is good. This is a good section. Boy, I hope our fans are okay with having an 8-episode arc here with this book.
Dude, I did actually say we were not getting through this soon, but
no, I know
this is still slower than I admittedly hoped. But hey, this was an interesting chapter to talk about.
Yeah, to be fair, we're also trying to do our edition wars thing and compare. We're not just reading the book to you. We're talking about how you can see the seeds of what became some factor of the rules in 5th edition. You could see it way back here in 2004, 10 years prior, and also remember when they were creating 5th edition, when it was D&D Next, and they were playing the game every day, and they were playing different editions in the lead up to that.
Yep.
So. Just to sort of, you can imagine that they looked at this book and said, okay, what things out of here, worked well enough that we might want to consider them as part of the next edition, right? And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the evolution of a game.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, let's round it up there then. I actually do hope that you're enjoying this book as we go through it. I do think it has some fascinating things that are of interest even to fans who've only played 5th edition. So with that, I will say goodbye.